Hello everyone, this afternoon on the marketplace, reducing the tax burden, Association of Ghana Industries to further engage government for a review.
So much from the companies or industries, then you have a challenge stimulating production. This is a working capital that is being taken away from them. So those are the areas that we think that should be looked at.
Also coming up, ACEP warns of a potential power shutdown as financial flow challenges linger.
I suspect that in 2024, given that it's an election year, all the IPPs are going to be looking for their money because you don't want to push your debt to 2025 when there's a new government, a new negotiation, and the rest of it. So those are the threats we face.
Ahead, we'll discuss how government can get around this. Plus, improving food security in 2024, General Agricultural Workers Union cautions there will be dire consequences if Phase 2 of the Planting for Food and Jobs program is not rolled out expeditiously.
The food security into the 2024 is precarious in the sense that you may find food within the system. Like I'm talking about the rice that is being dumped into the market. But you see, you need to have money to be able to access that.
Ms. Daryl, Kwawu, thanks for joining us. Details coming up. Well, first up, the Association of Ghana Industries will continue to have further engagements with the Minister of Finance and Cabinet on the need for some of the taxes approved in the 2024 budget to be reviewed. This is to ensure that industries are not overburdened with taxes as the economy is showing signs of recovery. Chief Executive Kwawu, who disclosed this to Joy Business, hinted that some specific taxes in the budget could have been more targeted than generalized.
Some of the tax issues that we were comfortable with, there were others that were not tackled, and somehow we understand a little bit because government is also in a very difficult situation where revenue targets are on them as a result of the IMF intervention. But we thought that there are certain areas that if you're able to tackle very well, it will stimulate production, because if you take so much from the companies or industries, then you have a challenge stimulating production. This is a working capital that is being taken away from them. So those are the areas that we think that should be looked at. But there are also other areas that are generally good, but we have to look into. We see our position has always been that we have to do that detailed work. For example, there are waivers on importation of agri implements, which in principle is good, because you want to stimulate agriculture. And therefore, if somebody is investing in agriculture and is bringing some tools, some implements, why should you deny them why should you impose so much duties on them? So government giving this as a waiver is a good thing. However, some of them, if you take machetes, as the gentleman was saying, we have local production capacity, which is far in essence of what we need. Indeed, the local producers, if you put them together, the total production installed capacity is 50% more than the whole country needs. And therefore, why should you encourage importation by reducing or exempting them from import duties? So those are the details we have to work on. But I'm sure as we engage government, they will understand where we're coming from. That in the midst of trying to help, trying to come out with policies should not be overly generalized. You need to look at specific situations where you can run counter to your very objective, good, noble objective that we have. So those ones are the ones that we will look at. So generally speaking, the tax waivers and the duties that duty exemptions we got were good. The ones that were not tackled, I think we have to continuously engage government and see how best we can reposition those taxes.
Now, Ghana's power sector is facing threats of a shutdown due to financial flow problems. That's according to Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Ben Boakye. Speaking on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, Mr. Boakye said there is a long-standing debt owed to independent power producers by the Electricity Company of Ghana and other stakeholders. He therefore fears the situation could be dire if the government fails to intervene.
So that is a scenario that, you look at all things possible, we would have to go through for 2024 as well. I mean, I've seen letters and exchanges that happens during the Yuletide where the sector, agencies and private companies had to, shelve their actions to allow us to have the lights on. For example, WAPCO wrote to GNPC, giving them the room to allow gas to flow, even though they were indebted close to $20 million, which ordinarily would have caused a cessation of gas flow to the power plants. But they extended their action, to this month, January. If we don't pay, they may want to curtail gas supply to us. We've also seen some actions from the IPPs. Asogli in December was wild, trying to get their money back. They managed to get $60 million from government. We don't know how they're going to push back on these delays in payments. And I keep saying that Asogli was one of the, considerate IPPs in the space. Suddenly, they are chasing their money. And I suspect that in 2024, given that it's an election year, all the IPPs are going to be looking for their money because you don't want to push your debt to 2025 when there's a new government, a new negotiation, and the rest of it. So those are the threats we face. The budget says now that the under-recoveries could be as high as $27 billion.
Dr. Suleiman is an energy strategist, also CEO of energy consultancy firm Eureka Solutions. He joins us on Zoom. Happy New Year to you, Yusuf. Looks like government's indebtedness to IPPs is still going to be an issue this year. How worried should we be about this?
We have every cause to be worried about these situations, Daryl. And like my good friend Ben indicated, I always say that within our power space, we have been sitting on tenterhooks for some time now, just that we haven't realized it, or we feel or play numbed to, the developing situations. What are we talking about here? I always say that if you look at what is available in terms of our maximum output and what the consumer demands on peak period, they are almost matching up. And so that shows that we are sitting on serious, serious problem. I mean, we are sitting on the cliff. And so if you don't take any concerted effort to add any meaningful amount, any meaningful and quantifiable wattage into our power pool, we're going to have problems. And if you look at what is happening, the key issue has been always finance, as a matter of fact. Otherwise, I'll always challenge the duty bearers that why do you have to always talk about the fact that we have installed capacity of over 5,000 when our peak demand barely reaches 4,000. Why don't you commercialize them? And the next thing you will know is that they don't have the money to be able to commercialize them. Because the idea is we need gas, and we need gas. And gas has always been a problem. So if you look at all the areas, it was almost like a done deal for the generation side of this value chain. Unfortunately, the generation side, we've overly become, relaxed on the generation side, and it has come to bite us very hard. So yes, it's something that we have to worry about, and especially the fact that a lot of the players within the chain, either WAPCO, either Ghana Gas, either IPPs, they'll be on the neck of government. So government will have to be proactive to make concerted effort. Number one, to keep engaging these players, even if they are not able to meet their demand within a period of time. They should keep engaging them to have a plan, but not to play, around, not to act in good faith. If that's the case, I think we are heading towards something difficult. But I think if the government engage them with open heart, wholeheartedly, in good faith, I think they will reason. But by then, they are not for the Christmas. We have to always make sure that, we meet their demands as much as possible. Yes, the idea is we almost say that the distribution has always been the problem. Let's work on the distribution. That's where the cash flow is. Let's make sure that we're able to recoup the amount of money that is given to, the quantity of power that is given to the distributors. The ECG has to be able to recoup that. In recent time, they are doing well. They have to keep up and ensure that, because that's the only place. If the distribution is not well and good, Daryl, you can be sure that all the value chain transmission and generation, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a very difficult, and that's what we are finding ourselves now. Yeah.
The extent of the impact on our power situation, ACEP talks about a shutdown.
Yeah, indeed. You know, I always say that energy is the lifeblood of every economy. If you joke around with your energy supply on your energy flow, you are doing that to your own peril, as a matter of fact. Because if there is a shutdown, and if you notice what is happening, we already have a bit of pockets of doom. So, like I just mentioned, right now we are sitting just at the cliff. So if there's any shortage of, let's say, any IPP, I mean, we can't afford to let a single megawatt be knocked off, intentional or unintentional. Government has to work towards that to ensure that the megawatts that we have now, we have to sustain that. And how do we sustain that? If you're not able to meet the commitments of or the requirements of these players, the IPPs and the others, doing so will be inevitable. And I hope the government will work towards to avoid that, because an election year, the pressure is going to be high. And like Ben also mentioned, yes, all the other players will come on the local government. And I think a strategy is required to be able to make sure that these requirements are met to keep the power on. Otherwise, having erratic power supply in election year, your guess are good as fine. It's not going to be good.
I mean, what other solutions can the government come up with now to improve our energy situation? You're talking about the government engaging the IPPs. What else can they do to improve our power situation?
So these are immediate term measures. Short term, I would say short, medium term, but long term, we can't keep on doing what we do and expect different results. Daryl, I've called severally that if you can quantify the amount of gas that we have within our shores, you will not believe that. Ghana gas has been online for God knows, 2016, and we have not 2015, 2016. We have not been able to add any appreciable stream or quantity to that. This year, we're going to have an agreement, a gas agreement with Kwawu. We have to facilitate that to make sure that we consistently have gas pool into the stream. Because all this we are talking about, even this installed capacity we are talking about, why are they idle? Because we don't have money to pay for the gas to fare them. Okay, so we have to be able to have a long-term strategy. And the long-term strategy is that let's ensure that we take advantage of the pool of gas that we have. We have it. We only have to develop the infrastructure. The gas is for us. We have to develop the infrastructure to be able to utilize it. If we do that and link up, and I always say that if you're able to link up the power sector and the petroleum sector with gas as a conduit, I think that is key to our energy security. If we don't do that, we're going to have problems, consistent problems that is recurring as it is now.
All right. I want us to turn to the petroleum sector because there's a talking point there as well. As we began the year, some oil marketing companies effected some reduction in the prices of petrol and diesel. But looking at the tensions in the Middle East right now, what are your projections for the fuel market?
Yeah, so I would just say that we've just been lucky that these tensions, it hasn't affected pump prices. On the contrary, we have seen that crude oil prices are dropping, and it's not going to continue. It's not going to continue like that. I mean, there's already, last time I met you with regard to this Middle East crisis, I told you that if there's any miscalculation and that we have issues developing in the Red Sea that will lead to a blockage of the Strait of Hormuz and all the choke points, we're going to have oil prices skyrocketing to levels that we haven't had it. But the strategy now, what has happened, shale park in US have done the unthinkable. When I say unthinkable, they ramp up production beyond every reasonable means. They are talking about 13 plus. And so that has caused this supply, a bit of supply glut that we're talking about. But these are fluid movements. So yes, we have to have local strategies. And going forward, going to the new year, what I would urge is that I think consumers are not ready for any price hikes. Fortunately, within the last few couple of months, we have had some stability, relative stability within the pump prices. I expect going to 2024, we'll continue to have those stability. Whatever we are doing, unfortunately, this stability, I think, is largely due to the favorable condition within the international space. That's actually what is accountable for, largely accountable for this favorable condition. And this international space is highly fluid. So what I want to say is that let's develop our internal capability. I always say that when external forces are coming, they hit hard and they battered economies that are not resilient. So and our weak point, our Arsenal have been doing well that I must say, and thanks to NPN and the other place. But our weak point within the Arsenal is the fact that we don't have a running refinery. That's a huge hollow point for the upstream. Let's take a cue from Nigeria. Nigeria, they are bringing out huge refineries on board. 2 refineries are already on board. Now, what are we waiting for? We have deals that is supposed to bring Tor on stream. We need to do that. Let's work towards to ensure that Tor become profitable Tor brand. And we have a private refinery that is coming. Let's ensure that NPA put all possible measures, create environment to let this place come. I can't wait to have it to see an environment where our BDC will source oil locally, our petroleum product locally. And if we do that, this quantum of money, 350 to 400 million US dollars, that's huge on a monthly basis that will churn out to import finished product. That will help a lot, and that will even stabilize our city. So yes, we can keep on doing the same thing like I mentioned to expect difference. We need to think about something else. What we need to do is that let's boost up our downstream. We can't have fuel prices going up. We have to keep the stability. If not reduction, at least we keep the stability at it. Anything other than that, I think consumers will not have it easy or will not find it accommodative.
All right, Dr. ACEP Sulemana, I appreciate your time with us this afternoon. Energy strategist Dr. ACEP Sulemana there. Thank you. Now, the General Agricultural Workers Union is mounting pressure on government to implement phase 2 of the Planting for Food and Jobs program to improve food security in the country. According to the union, the expeditious rollout of the program will largely support the government's quest of ensuring food security. Speaking to Joy Business, General Secretary Edward Kwawu advised government to also pay attention to food inflation this year.
Now, as we are experiencing now, the rice is lying in the sun and then it's lying everywhere.
And that's the situation as we speak right now. That is the situation as we speak right now.
That's it.
Wow.
Yes, as we speak now. As we speak now. And then, of course, I've just been to the fields and I'm just speaking with you.
Okay.
And so you can see that by next month, that same rice will not be available. It will either go to waste or it is taken out. So the food security into the 2024 is precarious in the sense that you may find food within the system. Like I'm talking about the rice that is being dumped into the market. But you see, you need to have money to be able to access that. You know, those who have incomes will say that, oh, we can buy the rice and then use it. It matters not whether that rice is from the local producers or imported. For the consumer, once he has enough money to purchase the rice, then they will do so. But for the majority of the people who do not have incomes, because they are not wage earners, or even if they are wage earners, they have so much responsibilities on their heads they need to use their wages for, will end up not being able to buy enough. So food security is going to be a problem in 2024. More so, you can only eat when you have money to buy. But we are talking about a situation whereby we produce ourselves and we don't necessarily need to come out with money to buy to be able to eat. So for those people who have not got money, food security is going to be so acute, serious in 2024.
Next, cloud technologies, machine learning, and generative AI have become more accessible, impacting nearly every aspect of our lives, from writing emails to developing software, even detecting cancer at an early age. The coming year, this year, will most definitely be filled with innovation in areas designed to ensure access to technology and help us keep up with the increasing pace of everyday life. Here with his top predictions for 2024 is Henry Kobler, who is lead for ACEP Africa. Happy New Year to you, Henry. Top on your list is increased adoption of AI and machine learning technologies and immersive media advances. Talk to us about it.
You're looking at the measures of AI now pushed into application implementations. You're looking at a lot of implementations coming live when it comes down to artificial intelligence. I mean, I've seen quite a number of applications that have come in to help in terms of voice applications, video applications, people able to change their voices to imitate voices of advertisers and models. and all of sorts. And I'm seeing that there's going to be quite a lot of implementations. I've seen quite a lot of people using artificial intelligence to be creating videos for monetizations for YouTube, which is a sort of a new skill which is up and running. And I'm actually looking at artificial intelligence rather being also applied in major fields such as cybersecurity, data analytics, and all of those sorts. And so I'm seeing that data is not just going to be in the point of just generating AI, but it's sort of going to be more implementative this year. Generally, if I mention immersive media advances as well, I'm looking at how people are going to now be part of the machine learning process or artificial intelligence processes. And so if I am a drone pilot, I'm sort of going to be able to see firsthand what exactly I'm actually capturing right from the skies. If I am into social media, I'm going to be doing a lot of immersive. Facebook has released a lot of tools, virtual reality, augmented reality, to be putting people in the social media mood to be implementing artificial intelligence. And so I'm seeing all of that coming in play with a proper implementation to sectors which will basically need solutions in the tech sector.
Yeah, there were concerns about maybe risks of adopting AI, for instance. Have those concerns been allayed, do you think?
I don't think that those concerns will take the next 10 years to sort of solve. Meaning, you're going to have a lot of people get out of jobs. You're going to have the fears of machine learning robots coming into play, allowed into the system. Definitely we're humans, and so you can't always necessarily make sure that almost everything is sort of human. You can't go to the hospitals. You would definitely have a lot of artificial intelligence machineries always available for people to have access to do diagnostics and all of those things. But the presence of a doctor making use of these artificial intelligence is also going to be key. And so we can't take the fears away, but I think that definitely we're always going to find a way around alleviating some of these fears when it comes down to AI.
Yeah, and you also anticipate a heightened focus on security. What are the threats requiring this, and what security solutions should we expect?
I have had a lot of people ask me, what should I learn when it comes down to AI in the recent times? And I tell them, go into cybersecurity or data analytics. The simple reason is this. So far as there's a heightened increase in the use of technology, there's also a lot of security concerns. There are a lot of ways where people are trying to get into people's funds. Fintech is like the order of the day for the past 5 years into 8 years. It's been like the biggest industry when it comes down to the tech industry. And so far as your money is floating all over, we've seen mobile money fraud, cut across. And so generally, so far as people are having a heightened increase in technology, there's always going to be the security concerns. And as much as there are also going to be the security concerns, you're going to have a lot of interest of corporate institutions putting a lot of their budget into curbing some of these cyber concerns. Security is always a bigger deal when it gets down to technology. And I think that for me, I'm looking at quite a lot of companies coming to that understanding of how security is going to be purposeful. I basically build applications for people. And when I mention security, they really don't seem concerned about it. But I think that most of the times when I sort of explain the reasons why it's important, they sort of get it and they're sort of willing to put in some level of funding. So I'm seeing a heightened increase in that sector. I'm seeing a lot of people learning and acquiring knowledge right from the universities into pushing into the implementation of that. I think that policies are also in place, especially in Ghana. We have the Cybersecurity Agency and quite a number of policies coming together to make sure that the environment online is sort of safe for the citizenry.
Number 3 on your list, you think stakeholders will be keen on bridging the talent gap?
Absolutely. So if you're looking at the fears which comes with technology and AI and all of those things, I think that people are not going to sit down to think that tech should basically take up and they would just sit home. There's going to be a lot of skill orientations, a lot of investment is going to go into skill advancement. As in, I decided I was going to pick up a new master's in machine learning just because I felt that it was important for me to get it. I thought that, okay, fine, I'm okay in terms of being able to program and all of those sorts. But I realized that I sort of need to advance, and that is going to come across board, whether you're going to have it as an individual decisions, you're going to have it as corporate decisions, or you're going to have it as a general scale acquisition point for a lot of the youths that are coming, especially in Africa. I think that it's going to be one of the biggest interests. A lot of people are learning how to create content, how to edit their own content and putting them on social media. I mean, all of those skills come into play. And I think that it's a good thing where, especially when it comes out to Africa, where we sort of a bit lag behind tech, and tech basically also lag behind regulation. We're going to take advantage of acquisition of a lot of skill. Funny enough, most of these new skills are really not taught in the classrooms. They're sort of on YouTube, and they are just packed up in courses, online courses. I've had to point a lot of people to online courses, which you're just paying like a $200 and $300, and you're just going to learn a whole photography course in just about a week or two. And those are the new kinds of skill acquisition trends, which is going to come in play. And I'm going to see a lot of people get into that side.
Yeah, I mean, what should be the approach of our policymakers in bridging this talent gap, especially here in Ghana, where, I mean, our government has been pushing this digitalization agenda? What should be the approach?
Incentives is most important. I mean, when you're having some level of incentives thrown out to some of the companies, like, I mean, pick 5 or 10 of the fintech companies and give them some level of incentives, tax reliefs, and let them be able to, bring in some people that are willing to pick up these talents and learn on the job. I think that it could do us a lot of good, especially in the tech sector as well. The minimization of some level of taxes could help the innovation within that sector, because if you're having some of the taxes now being pushed back into them or taking off them, they're willing to pick up more people to train them and to broaden the wide gap of skill in there. I've seen government really getting into the skill acquisition processes, but I don't think there's really been a lot effective, because generally some of the training models I've seen do not really affect on what is the demand on the market. And so generally when these people are pushed into the industry, and again, I think that the universities are able to pick up some of these high level new courses. When I used to be at university, there was this thing called the VC course, which was just a course aside the entire course outlines which we were doing. I think that it was so helpful. I used to do swimming as a course, and it did help me. And so some of these courses, which is the new skill acquisition pointers, will be pushed into some of these ones. I think that the SHS curriculum could also look at a lot more of these, and the government could do a lot more by giving them a lot of these, the tools that could help them be able to achieve that skill acquisition.
Okay. We'll leave it here for now and pick it up next week. Henry, thank you so much. Henry Kobler is lead for Eyes of Africa. Join us with his top tech predictions for 2024. And that's the marketplace. There is more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We are just sitting idle. Business owners lament low patronage. Also, Fit Solutions anticipate significant expenditure overruns ahead of December 2024 elections. myjoyonline.com/business. We'll see you same time tomorrow.